To Shola, these are lots of wonderful older people who are just continuing. They've got enormous stamina. Their duty continues into their 90s.
Oh, how absolutely wonderful. What 9-to-5 jobs I'm sure we would all wish for. Listen, slimming down the monarchy as a sign of modernity is an insult to our intelligence, okay? Not only is this pale, stale, and predominantly male, right? It sends a powerful message of maintaining the hierarchical divide of class, race, wealth, and privilege. The royal family is the face of the British monarchy, an institution that symbolizes the entrenched structural inequalities that has placed British subjects in a chokehold of, peasant mentality and servitude. In fact, King Charles had the audacity to invite us, members of the public, to swear an allegiance to him when he's the one that should have been giving an oath of service to us. Look, Queen...
He did during the ceremony. He said he came to serve, not to be served.
No, but the point here...
Didn't you do it?
Hell to the freak, no. The point here is that not only are they out of touch, outdated. The point here is that I want people to understand that the days and the era of deference and reverence, which is the era of Queen Elizabeth, are totally behind us. And Queen Elizabeth could avoid scrutiny, transparency, accountability because of the deference that people held for her. Her successors are not going to benefit from the same. And, you're talking about all of these people. Princess Alexandra, all of these people that apparently...
There's a Duke of Edinburgh,
let me finish.
Princess of Wales.
I was listening to your joy and your excitement, and here I was trying to just feel your passion.
Not my joy and excitement. 2 million people were on the streets of London. 2 million.
You might learn something. The bottom line here is that no member of the royal family is a source of inspiration or aspiration for anybody.
Hello there. Let's have a frank conversation about the state of our nation and the institution that sits at its very pinnacle. We are constantly being told by the press, with a rather patronizing tone, I must say, that the monarchy is modernizing. They point to this idea of slimming down the number of working royals as the grand proof of this evolution. They package it as a savvy, forward-thinking move, designed to make the institution more palatable for the 21st century. But I am here to tell you that this entire notion is not just fundamentally flawed, it is a profound and deliberate insult to our collective intelligence. The suggestion that simply having fewer faces on the Buckingham Palace balcony somehow transforms an archaic, hereditary institution into a beacon of modernity is utterly laughable. It's like putting a smart new coat of paint on a crumbling, rotten structure and pretending it is now a brand new building. The core problem isn't the number of royals on the payroll. The core problem is the very existence of a system that grants immense power, wealth, and privilege based on nothing more than an accident of birth. Reducing the caste list does not change the script. It is a superficial, cosmetic change that distracts from the fundamental injustice at its heart. This narrative of a slimmed-down monarchy is a carefully crafted public relations stunt. It is designed to quell dissent and make us feel that our concerns are being addressed, when in reality the status quo is being fiercely protected. They want us to believe this is progress, that this is a monarchy listening to the people. But it is a trick. It is a cynical maneuver to manage public perception without engaging in any meaningful reform whatsoever. It treats the British public as if we are children, easily placated by shiny, simple solutions to complex, systemic problems. We are far more intelligent than that, and we must reject this condescending narrative. True modernity is not about the quantity of royals. It is about the quality of our democracy. It is about equality, accountability, and meritocracy. A truly modern nation would be discussing the complete abolition of a system rooted in feudalism, not debating how many of its beneficiaries should be on public display. To frame this shallow reduction as a sign of progress is to willfully ignore the deep-seated issues of classism, inequality, and inherited privilege that the monarchy represents and perpetuates. It is a distraction, and it is an insult we should not be expected to quietly accept. Let's dismantle another pervasive myth that is consistently peddled to justify the monarchy's existence: The idea that the royal family is a source of inspiration and aspiration for the British people. This is a fantasy, a fairy tale we are encouraged to believe in from childhood. The truth is starkly different. I will say it plainly so there is no room for misunderstanding. No member of the royal family is a source of inspiration for anybody. Not for me, not for my children, and not for the millions of people in this country who work tirelessly to build their lives based on their own merit and hard work. What exactly are we meant to be inspired by? The unearned wealth? The inherited palaces? The life of unimaginable privilege that requires no effort to attain? This is not aspiration. This is a celebration of the lottery of birth. Real inspiration comes from seeing people overcome adversity, achieve greatness through talent and dedication, and contribute meaningfully to society. It comes from doctors, teachers, scientists, and activists. It does not come from a family whose primary qualification is their bloodline. To suggest we should look up to them is to devalue the very concepts of hard work and personal achievement. The royals live in a gilded cage, completely detached from the realities faced by ordinary citizens. They do not understand the struggle to pay bills, the anxiety of finding a good school for your children, or the daily grind of a 9-to-5 job. Their lives are not relatable, and therefore they cannot be truly inspirational. They are symbols of a hierarchical system that tells us some people are inherently better than others. This is not a message of hope. It is a message of subservience. It reinforces a social order where your station in life is predetermined, which is the very antithesis of an aspirational society. We must stop pretending that waving from a balcony or cutting a ribbon is an act of profound public service that should inspire a nation. It is pageantry, and nothing more. The idea that these individuals should be our role models is a deeply regressive concept that holds our country back. We should be encouraging our children to aspire to be leaders in their own right, to break barriers, and to build a better world through their own efforts, not to look up to a family whose position is guaranteed by an accident of history. The myth of royal inspiration is a hollow one. For 70 years, under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the monarchy operated under a thick veil of mystique and deference. It was an institution that was largely shielded from genuine scrutiny, transparency, and, most importantly, accountability. The mantra was never complain, never explain, a strategy that effectively placed the royal family above the standards to which every other public figure or institution is held. Any criticism was often dismissed as unpatriotic or disrespectful, but I am here to state, unequivocally, that this era is totally and utterly behind us. The deference is dead, the world has changed, and the public's expectations have changed with it. In an age of social media, 24-hour news cycles, and a greater demand for social justice, an institution cannot expect to survive by hiding behind tradition and secrecy. People are asking legitimate questions about the monarchy's finances, its historical ties to colonialism and the slave trade, and its exemption from equality laws. These are not attacks. They are the reasonable demands for accountability that any modern institution should welcome. The silence and evasion that characterized the previous era are no longer acceptable. The coronation of King Charles III, with its bizarre invitation for the public to swear allegiance to him, showed just how out of step the institution remains. In a modern democracy, it is the powerful who should be pledging their service and allegiance to the people, not the other way around. When I was asked if I would pledge allegiance, my response was simple: hell to the no. This sentiment is shared by a growing number of people who refuse to bow to a system of inherited power. We are citizens, not subjects, and we demand an open and honest relationship with those in positions of authority, not one based on archaic oaths. The new generation will not be silenced. We will continue to challenge the lack of transparency. We will continue to demand answers about the institution's racist past and its present-day relevance. The days of the monarchy existing in a bubble, protected from the difficult questions and the winds of change, are over. The demand for accountability is not going away, it is only growing louder. The institution must either face this new reality and submit itself to genuine scrutiny, or risk becoming a complete and utter irrelevance in the eyes of the people it purports to serve. When you look at the monarchy, what do you see? I see an institution that is overwhelmingly pale, stale, and predominantly male. It is the very embodiment of an old world order that has no place in the vibrant, multicultural and progressive nation that Britain aspires to be in the 21st century. It represents a past steeped in a rigid class structure, racial hierarchy, and inherited privilege, all of which are barriers to true equality. This institution is not just outdated, it is fundamentally out of touch with the lived experiences of the majority of people in this country. The monarchy perpetuates a damaging hierarchical divide that seeps into the very fabric of our society. It sends a powerful message that who your parents are is more important than who you are. This is a system that inherently values lineage over talent, wealth over worth, and tradition over progress. How can an institution so deeply rooted in the principle of inequality claim to represent a diverse nation that is striving for fairness and equal opportunity for all? It is a walking contradiction, a relic of a bygone era that actively hinders our social progress by its very existence. Consider the optics. The pomp and ceremony, the golden carriages, the crowns laden with jewels. All of this happens while ordinary families are struggling with a cost of living crisis. It is not just out of touch, it is a slap in the face to millions of hard-working people. The institution's immense, publicly subsidized wealth stands in stark contrast to the everyday realities of food banks, rising energy bills, and stretched public services. It is a constant glaring reminder of the chasm between the privileged few and the many, and it breeds resentment, not unity. Ultimately, the argument for the monarchy's existence is crumbling. It is not modern, it is not inspirational, and it is not accountable. It is a faded institution that no longer reflects the values or the reality of modern Britain. It stands as a monument to a past we should be moving away from, not celebrating. The conversation we need to be having is not about how to tweak it or slim it down. The real conversation, the one that truly signifies a modern and forward-thinking nation, is about how we transition, peacefully and democratically, to a future without it.